Let's see. Now we're live. Morning. Welcome to the Sports Crew Podcast, episode 5. As I have my guest Matt here. It's been a while since you've been here. Obviously, we'll talk about Game 1 and Game 2 ALDS reactions. Matt, how you been, man?
So far, so good. I don't think I think we all expected something like this in the championship series, but everything else has been going good.
Yeah. Obviously, you said we expected this. What you thought went wrong Game 1 and Game 2 for the Yankees?
Um, just kind of, I guess I'll break it down into. I thought the pitching was fine. Maybe Boone, maybe overmanaged or tried, sneaking some outs there with Clark Schmidt in the game one. But for the most part, I thought Tyone did a really good job. He went 4 innings, 1 run. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that from your fourth or fifth starter. I thought that was a really, really good job by him. Clark had a big double play. I think a lot of Yankee fans thought once we got that double play, things might change. Things might look better towards the positive side because Houston didn't do what Houston typically does. But right after that inning, Houston does what they typically do, and they hit the home run. They scored their runs. And then after that, our offense just looks a little inept right now. It doesn't even look like an offense. It looks like a AAA team. I think I'd rather have a AAA offense up there right now. I think game one, was kind of it was an uphill battle. You're facing Justin Verlander. You had him on the ropes. I
Cy
think
Young winner. Yeah.
the thing with the Yankees is they can't in the playoffs. They've yet to get the guy out of the game. So far we've seen in game one, Verlander on the ropes, runners on second and third, 1 out. You got to score in that situation. You need to take it a 2-1 lead, and you go back to back strikeouts with Donaldson and Carpenter. And then after that, Verlander was on cruise control. Just didn't 10 strikeouts, didn't
I think
look
he had
phased.
11 actually for Game
Yeah, it
1.
didn't even look phased out there. It was a beast. Then game two, same thing. You had Felmer had him on the ropes a little bit here and there. He wasn't really completely locked in the beginning of the game. And then he found his mojo, and then look at him. I think he finished with 8 Ks or something like that. 7 innings. Really good baseball from him. Good baseball from the Astros. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing with the Yankees and the Astros. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, the Yankees, they're built on the home run. They can't win, based on the home run." At the end of the day, the home run's what wins. The Astros are hitting the home runs, but here's the difference between the Astros home runs and the Yankees home runs. The Astros home runs are 3-run home runs, 2-run home runs, guys on base home runs. The Yankees home runs are solo shots that, oh, look, they chipped into the lead. They didn't actually do the damage. That's the difference between the two teams.
Yeah,
The
they
Astros have the table
definitely.
setters. The Yankees do not.
Yeah, they definitely got to get runners in scoring position. I think for them to actually get those runs, like you said. I think so. Game 1, I was able to watch the full game. Literally, the only at bat didn't watch was the IKF single. I went to do laundry because I didn't want to watch IKF. Um, but you got up early, like you said. Bader home run, you're up 1-0. I really had faith. Even Boone, I think Boone was the one who said it. Like the first 3 innings, you kind of had Verlander a little bit on the ropes, and then once
Mm-hmm.
he clicked, that was it. You
Yeah.
you had your chances. You got runners in score position. You should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you had 17 strikeouts in Game 1. Like that's unacceptable. You
Yeah.
can't go far and win with 17 strikeouts in Game 1. And then Game 2, I didn't get to fully watch because I had a midnight run. I was able to watch the highlights. I was able to watch 2 different YouTubers' reactions to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to keep up with the stats, but we had 13 Ks from what I saw. So in total, you had 30 Ks throughout the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you said, the pitching has been fine. I think Severino pitched well. It was just one mistake, literally the one pitch to
I'll,
Bregman.
I'll give him 2 mistakes. I thought he pitched
I
well
think
though,
he
but
hit
I think hitting the
before.
catcher in an 0-2 count, the 9 hitter,
Yeah,
that sets your inning up for failure, and it did.
yeah. I seen Talking Yanks was talking about that this
Mhm.
morning. They said if you don't hit Maldonado, then
That
that's two
doesn't
runs.
happen.
And
Yeah.
then you look at I saw from the highlights the Judge home run at the end, like he got
Mm-hmm.
robbed, and
Mm-hmm.
Bader was there. That could have been a 2-run home run. Like it was a lot of things that happened, but of course, offense got to wake up. There's no way that each player has like at least 2 strikeouts, and then man, it kind of I don't like having IKF at short. I was very glad that Peraza played short yesterday. I know he
Made some
didn't get a
great plays
hit.
though. Made some really good
I
plays.
saw from the highlights, I heard from Talking Yanks that he made a lot of great defensive play. I've been saying this since like September. He should be the one
Mm-hmm.
who starts at shortstop because his defense. Yes, you probably might say that his bat is not there like other players, but I think his bat would be better than Josh. What is Josh giving us?
No. I do agree. He is a better bat than Josh. Unfortunately, because of all the injuries, they view Josh as like a guy that they need on their team, to produce. But at the end of the day, he's the same old Josh Johnson, has not produced this whole year, except for maybe one little streak where he had, a couple decent games. But I think as Yankee fans, we knew it, but maybe the front office will never do it. But it's time for them to admit that trade was a complete failure.
No, for
I
sure.
saw this morning on Twitter too. They just could have tendered Gary Sanchez, cut him loose. Didn't have to trade him to get Josh Donaldson and an IKF. Could have been a lot better than that. They could have found. I mean, at this point, they could have paid Aljontra Simmons. And then how the Cubs cut him eventually when the prospect was ready and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think Cash made a lot of moves that just didn't really work out, and you're really seeing him now. In his defense, though, I think the series is a little bit different. If the Yankees have LeMahieu and Benintendi, I think those are your two contact guys that get on base, and those are the table setters. If we look at it in Game 1, probably instead of Josh Donaldson coming up in with runners on first, second, and third, and one out, it probably would have been Benintendi. He probably would have been your fifth hitter, and that would have been a contact guy to drive in, the runs and stuff like that, or at least get one in. So obviously, losing those two bats killed the team, killed any chances we had. They could beat the Guardians, as we see, no matter, with those guys or without those guys. Still took them 5 games to do it. But losing those two guys to face a team as good as the Astros is a really big disadvantage.
Listen, with Game 1, I know Glaber was leading off, and it's nothing bad against Glaber. I remember I showed you all the stats of where he hits. Glaber's a great player, but he's not a leadoff hitter. There's nothing wrong against him. Sometimes some players can't lead off because they need to see pitches. They're, having Benintendi or DJ either or at leadoff would have been great. And having either one of the other one batting, let's say fifth, would have been great too. We really need them.
That's what it would have been. It would have been 1 and 5, like that spot, just to give 2 types of contact hitters between the big power hitters. Would have been great, but injuries happens to the game.
You can't control injuries. But it's just, even though we don't have those two, which I do believe we really need them to beat Houston. With them, I have confidence in beating Houston.
Yes.
But you cannot have Josh Donaldson out there for the rest of the series. I'm sorry. It needs to be. I don't know if you're gonna put Cabrera, Cabrera or IKF at third. You figure that out. You need to put Peraza at shortstop. Obviously, you have Glaber at second, Rizzo at first, and then Bader center field, Judge right field. The left field situation, at least for Yankee Stadium, you got to put, I guess, Cabrera, because Matt Carpenter hasn't gotten a hit since he's gotten back. I mean,
Matt Carpenter is not the same Matt Carpenter, but I mean, you kind of expected that though. 2 months off, hasn't really faced MLB pitching in a while.
That's what I was gonna say. Like he hasn't played in a while, so I can't really fault him. It happened. So because of that situation, I guess technically you can't play him because he's not a factor. So if you can't play him, you got to have Cabrera at left field, Stanton DH, and again put probably IKF at third for a contact hitting. But Josh Donaldson cannot play the rest of the series. I'm sorry, he can't, because he looks lost at the plate. I saw all of Game 1, like the swings. I heard about Game 2, like he was the main one that was only getting tweeted about his at-bats is terrible. You can't put him out there. So obviously, speaking with that, for Game 3, obviously it's tomorrow. I'm kind of glad that we have today off for a few reasons. One, I wanted to marinate with them, like, damn, we are down 2-0. We need to wake up.
Yeah.
And then you have calling them out, which he's performed great in his first 2 games, but now he's going against Houston, his old team, and his playoffs. What's your lineup for Game 3?
Well, what they're going to do is Josh Johnson is going to start at third base. But, what I would like to see is leadoff hitter be Bader again. Judge.
I like that move.
Unfortunately, Judge in the 2-hole. I'm not a big Judge guy. I don't think he produces well in the playoffs and stuff like that. He doesn't. He's a 220 hitter. He's a 220 hitter in the playoffs. You can't. This is the difference between the two teams too. For a goal in my lineup, they're super. I'll compare. Obviously, Jordan and Judge is probably the better comparison. But for heart and soul of the team, it's Judge and Altuve. Altuve is 0 for 23, and we're down 0 and 2. That just shows how deep that team is compared to Judge, who's really not doing anything, and we're same boat, but we're down 0-2. This talent level, their clutchness level, it's just by far superior to the Yankees lineup. But what I think the lineup's got to be, I'll do what the Yankees is because I know they're not going to do what I want. They're going to do Bader's lead off again, Judge second. I did not like switching Stanton to the 3 and Rizzo to the 4. So I would go Rizzo 3, Stanton 4. And then I would do, well, what they're going to do is they're probably going to put Josh Donaldson right behind,
That's fair.
Stanton in the 5 spot. 6 spot will probably be,
The
Oswaldo.
Torres
Oh, wait, no, 5 spot should be Torres.
should
Then
be.
you should go 6 Donaldson, and then you should go Oswaldo. Probably, no, they're probably going to put the catcher there. So whoever's catching Trevino, 8 spot is going to be the shortstop. I don't know what shortstop they're going to go with. They should go with Peraza, but they might be dumb and go IKF again. And then they'll put Oswaldo Cabrera in the 9th spot just to balance out the lineup a little bit. But if it was me, I would switch Donaldson and put IKF at third base, Peraza at shortstop, Cabrera in left. IKF, he might not be the best fielder right now, but his contact ability could come up in a better situation than Josh Donaldson, who loves striking out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think that IKF should play third. I know his terrible defense has been as short. I'm not saying he's a terrible third baseman because I know he won Gold Glove. I mean, he had a couple plays this year. He played third. That was not that good. But either way,
Mm-hmm.
I would still rather him at third. I do want to keep Bader at leadoff for a few reasons. He's been our hottest hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's very fast. So if he gets on base,
Yeah.
he can obviously steal or he could turn maybe a single, go from first to third, whatever happens. Judge, obviously, a two-hole hitter. I want to keep Rizzo at third, obviously, to balance out the lineups with the lefty. Stanton, you obviously clean up. I don't want Josh Donaldson at the fifth hole. I don't want him in the game at all.
Yeah.
So maybe, I guess, Torres you could put at fifth. I know he usually does good at fifth.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 6 to 7, as long as I'm pretty sure Trevino's going to play because he's going to catch Cole.
Yeah.
IKF has to be in the lineup, and then Oswaldo, whatever order you want to put, just put that.
Yeah.
But Josh Donaldson cannot play. But I am afraid because, like you said, Boone is not good with admitting I was wrong. They're not just Boone.
Yeah.
How
the whole organization is not good at admitting they were wrong.
Yeah. They can't. And like you said, I think it was the biggest mistake trading for Isaiah kind of for Josh Donaldson, Ben Werfer, because Ben Werfer obviously is in AAA. Maybe he'll be good, maybe not. Yeah. Josh Donaldson is terrible, making $25 million. That's kind of a huge hit for their payroll. Mm-hmm. And Isaiah kind of is supposed to be a stopgap. And they're
treating him like a star.
Yeah. They're treating him like a star. If you're really a stopgap, once Peraza was ready, you bring him up and either you move IKF to third or you stop playing him. Obviously, you're not going to stop playing him because he has a pretty good contact bat. But Josh Donaldson, I don't care if he's making $25 million. You gotta obviously swallow it and take your pride that he cannot play because he's a 220 hitter. And it just I don't know. You got to make changes for sure. And Gio would have been a way better option at third than both IKF and Josh because his average is pretty much the same at IKF and his power numbers are pretty much the same as Josh. You're getting both. And if you didn't want to play him because maybe let's say DJ was healthy, you could bench him. Like it's really it's hard, man, being a Yankees fan right now with being down 0-2. But obviously for game 3, what do you look at for us to win? What do we need to do to win and hopefully keep going forward and trying to come back in the series?
I think we have to do everything opposite of what the Yankees do. And I have a little thing here from Giancarlo Stanton says, we've got to shorten up a little bit and put the ball in play. You never know what could happen if you put the ball in play. And he is 1,000% right. I was absolutely disgusted with the Yankees yesterday. I was just disgusted by Boone saying claiming that the roof was an issue. I hated Severino saying that it was luck. Yeah, it might have been luck, but tip your cap to them. He hit the pitch, like at the end of the day, he hit the pitch. I thought it was classy. Bregman at the end of the game, he said, Severino's one of the best pitchers in the game. And then our guy comes out and says it's luck. I know there's frustration, obviously that played a factor into it, but I thought that was very weak by the Yankees and cowardly moves. I don't think it's a surprise that Stanton, holds the team accountable. I think, Judge is the leader, but, he is also, probably behind the scenes, a really big leader of this team. So I liked what Stanton said, but he's right. They got to shorten up. They all have long swings. They're all trying to kill the ball, home runs. At the end of the day, they got to start putting the ball in play. The only reason we scored yesterday was because we put the ball in play and they made an error. If you don't strike out, you never know what could happen. A freak play like that, and then all of a sudden you're on second and third with one, with no outs actually in that situation, and they're able to get both runs in. So I think they got to stop playing this home run game. The home run hitters could still play the home run game, but there's only 4 home run hitters on this team right now. There's Judge, Stanton, Rizzo. That's actually 3. There's only 3. Obviously, Bader's hitting the ball well, but he's not really trying to hit the home run. There's only 3 home run hitters. That means the 6 other guys need to start putting down bunts, shortening up their swings, contact swings, because they're not going to win. This is good pitching. You're not getting that many mistakes. And then when they have been getting mistakes, I think Gleyber Torres has had about 4 or 5 pitches that he should hit for at least a single, a double, and he's been fouling them off, missing them. So I think at the end of the day, they need to shorten up their swings and play a little bit more small ball than the Yankees and hope that the home run hitters wake up. I mean, if Aaron Judge doesn't wake up, this series is over no matter what. And he's not waking up. I can tell you that. He's not that. He's just not it right now. He's clearly slumping. Clearly an issue. He's chasing a lot of pitches now. Not the same Aaron Judge. Never the same Aaron Judge in the playoffs compared to the regular season. But the pitching, I'm not really worried about the pitching at this point. I mean, Houston really hasn't shown us. Even look at Houston. They're not really doing anything crazy offensively, but they're doing the little things right. They're fouling off pitches, getting our pitchers into higher pitch counts. When our pitchers on the ropes, they're getting the job done of hitting the ball when our pitchers on the ropes. So it's just a lot of frustration offensively. They think they're just stubborn. They don't learn. That's the thing with the Yankees. They don't learn. It's the same lineup, that we've had. I think what's the definition of insanity? Doing something over and over and over again.
Yeah.
All they've been doing is going after Houston the same way over and over and over again, and it doesn't work. They don't make adjustments. They all think they're going to hit the 500-foot home run when only one guy's going to do that. That's Stanton. So they just got to wake up and, shake up the lineup a little bit, put some bunts down, try to work a count. I mean, if you notice, Houston's always in a 2-1 count, a 1, they're always in good hitters counts. Our guys are always the opposite, always in 1-0-2, 1-2, chasing bad pitches, not swinging around. I mean, Houston's been aggressive sometimes and it's worked out. I mean, when you're facing good pitching like this, you can't, I know the Yankees' philosophy, work the count, get to the bullpen, get the pitcher out of the game. Well, what is Houston going to do? They're going to bring in a reliever that's also pitching, has a 2 ERA and is a really good pitcher. So, their philosophy hasn't worked in the playoffs because the whole team's good. I mean, from the starting pitcher to the 5th pitcher to the bullpen, the whole team is, I mean, they don't even know who they're picking a pitcher for game 3. They're like, oh, let's see, either Lance McCullers or Christian Javier. Oh, both of them are good. We'll decide. The Yankees don't have the luxury of doing that. They're like, oh my God, we need to we don't even know who's going to pitch game 5. If there's a game 5, we don't know. Like they have the luxury. They're a deeper team. But the Yankees need to play a little bit small ball. They need to play a little bit how the Guardians play. Put the ball in contact, hope for a little bloop single, make an error, because toe-to-toe without DJ and Benintendi, you cannot beat the Astros toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I think and it's funny, I have a lot to say about this. I find it so funny that people like Yankees Avenue, I know I watch this channel called one of my recaps, a bunch of people on Twitter. Yeah. I laugh at everyone saying, and I was not one of these people. I know you wasn't, and I have proof because I think I said it in a previous episode, or I probably posted it. I don't know why people were saying we want Houston. I never said that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, listen, I've always been a very confident Yankee fan. And I'm not going to change that just because we're down 0-2. Like, yes, I am confident because if you remember, I know there's someone else who I definitely mentioned this twice. There was 3 teams. I probably said this in an episode. I definitely said it on Instagram that I remember. There's 3 teams that I was only worried about: the Dodgers, the Braves, and Houston. Remember when I said that? I said 3 teams. I said I don't care who else makes it. I don't care if they add the entire league in the playoffs. There are only 3 teams that I feel that can beat us.
Yeah.
And 2 of those teams are in the NL, and both of them are gone. And I said the only team in the entire American League that can beat us is Houston. I did not want Houston. That's why I kept saying I want the Mariners to win.
Yeah,
because I don't want to play Houston. I don't care how great Luis Castillo is. He's an amazing pitcher. He's an ace. I don't care how good J-Rod is. I had confidence we could have beat the Mariners.
Yeah.
I did not want Houston. I don't know why people are saying. It's funny. They always say, yeah, we wanted Houston because we want revenge. You really want revenge over winning a World Series? Like, why are you so into that? I get it. They cheated in 2017. It happened. But you got to let that go, and you got to, like, get rid of your ego. We want to win a World Series. I'm not worried about no revenge. I want to, of course, it would be nice to beat them. I'd rather win a World Series than beating Houston. That's 1. 2, like you said, there was a stat, and obviously you know the stat because you even mentioned it today. Majority of the teams, if not majority, all the teams that have won World Series have out-homered other teams. I get that, right? I get that Cashman tried that approach. We're trying to get Gary Sanchez a few years ago, and then he had another home run hitter. I can't avoid, but you still have to put the ball in play. Like you said, you cannot be a home run hitting team and strike out every other time because it's not going to work. When you see the home run hitting teams, like you said, like Houston out-homered us, they actually had men on base.
Yeah.
We out homered Cleveland and won, but of course, like you said, we had to get men on base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about the pitching, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
We need the offense to wake up because, as I think I said, either before game one of Cleveland or Houston, either one, I said one of the X factors for me was we need 2019 Gleyber Torres, which I'm not saying he's been bad, but he hasn't been that Gleyber Torres.
Yeah.
Judge, you've seen all his postseason numbers. He hasn't been a postseason hitter. I'm sorry to say it, but he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a great regular season player. Obviously, you've seen MVP, but this is
Yeah.
the worst time for him to slump, and he's slumping. And we really need him to somehow get past Houston.
Yeah.
Stan has been Stan. I mean, he's hit the home run ball, but he's kind of hitting under 200. But he's still hitting the home runs when we
Yeah.
need it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. Bader's been hot, but if this offense doesn't start, like you said, you need to understand your personnel. Judge, Stanton, and Rizzo, your home run hitters.
Yeah.
Everyone else needs to somehow get on base,
And
whether it's a bunt, whether it's working a count, but you can't be trying to hit home runs when you're not a home run hitter. You can't.
and you know what the difference is? Where do our home run hitters hit in the lineup? 2, 3, 4. Where do their home run hitters hit? 3, 4, 5. It's a big difference. That's small. Like the Yankees are all, oh, we need Judge to get at bats. You know, we need him in the 2 spot. You don't need him in the 2 spot. You need him in the spot where there's going to be 2 to 3 guys, 2 guys or 3 guys on base ahead of him. So when he does deliver, it's a 4-run shot instead of a measly 1-1 home run. And then, oh, look, Yordan Alvarez comes up in the next inning, boom, home run, tie game. You know, or they take the lead. That's the difference too. I think like our lineup construction is awful. It's been awful forever. You know, like we don't have,
man.
without DJ, we don't have a leadoff hitter. Without Benintendi would have been our second. Now both of them are done. So now you're just so much thinner. You're so much weaker because 2 through 3 is not really where you want your power hitters. You want your power hitters 3 through 4, 3 through 5. But with the Yankees, their power hitters are there. So when they do hit the home runs, most of the time it's going to be what? A Judge strikeout, a Rizzo strikeout, then what? Stanton pops one for a solo shot, or a Judge strikeout, Rizzo home run, Stanton does nothing after. You know, like the issue is that their lineup is just so poorly constructed. It's not a deep roster. They don't have depth. They have no depth. And if they did have depth, we didn't get to see it at all, and they didn't get ready, you know, because we're stubborn. But I mean, with the Yankees, I just think, like you said, I didn't want to play Houston. I think people were delusional for wanting to play Houston. I get the whole revenge factor. It would be sweet to go there, beat Houston, then go win the World Series. But I'd just rather win the World Series without playing Houston. But at the end of the day, I think losing those 2 guys, once DeLemayhew and Benintendi, we knew they weren't going to be on the roster for the championship series. That's when I really lost all hope, because the Yankees lineup, it's the same old home runs, strikeouts, doesn't win in the playoffs for the Yankees.
I've definitely seen a lot of people, not just this year, but every kind of single year that we've had this kind of team. Everyone wants to put the blame on Cash, which I don't fault him for that, because it's been his lineup construction. He's the one that put these type of players on our team. Like you said, you want your power hitters to hit from 3 to 5. Like you have them again from 2 to 4. You can't do that. You can't, and you can't win like that. So I'm gonna be honest. This was great because it was leading into my next segment. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I'm gonna ask you how you would be if you were in Hal's position. If I'm in Hal Steinbrenner's position, I would definitely want to make a lot of changes financially after this season. Yes, the former Yankees with George Steinbrenner always spent money. They basically bought their championship. People say, yes, they got great players because they spent right. This team is not spending right. You have $25 million on Josh Donaldson, $18 million on Aroldis Chapman, who's probably in Miami partying.
What is
You
Britain
have
too, right?
You said what?
Britain, doesn't he have? Yeah.
Britain has, I believe, like 17 mil,
Yeah.
and he's obviously out. I know, what's his name? Chad Green, he's out for the season. But you have so many players that you're paying that either don't play or injured, or it's just
Aaron Hicks, 10 million.
Yeah, 10 million. You're wasting the money on the wrong people. If we look back at, I think it was 2018. Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. Look at how they're performing in the playoffs and the season. Yeah. Bryce Harper just won an MVP a few years ago and before he signed. He's a lefty power bat that was begging to go to Yankee Stadium, who actually plays defense, unlike Stan. I know Stan obviously hits the home runs in the postseason, but last postseason he played great. The one before that, great. This one, under 200. Harper's hitting like 300 or 400 with power. You look at Machado, he's leading the Padres right now to where they're at. We could have signed him, but no, instead we try to get moves again, like Josh Donaldson. Like, what are you doing with that? And then you had other opportunities, like you said, you could have just cut Sanchez.
So try that stupid trade.
That like you are poorly managing your money. And I personally think that if I'm Hal, I'm making a lot of financial changes. What, like, if you're Hal, what's going through your mind now and for the future?
So this is you're saying that like that last question right now, like would I rebuild or stuff like that?
Yeah,
I wouldn't rebuild because like there's no point of rebuilding because the talent's coming up in the farm system. It's gonna be like close. The Yankees could have had a shot at a dynasty that could have lasted 10 years with about 5 championships, 6 championships in that time frame, but they messed up. They clearly messed up here. I just don't think. I think they have to decide, are they gonna go back to be the Yankees or are they gonna go be the Tampa Bay Rays? I think that's what they need to decide right now because I don't like how they're spending money. There's no reason that 30 million of your payroll should consist of bullpen players when those guys pitch one inning, and it's clearly being shown right now in baseball that it is super easy to find really, really effective one inning guys or 1 to 2 inning guys that you could just pick up from another team, change their pitching, and keep going with it cheaply. Clay Holmes is not expensive. Johnny Loizaga is not expensive right now. Wandy Peralta. I mean, we traded Mike Talkman for Wandy Peralta, and we all freaked out because we were like, why are we trading Mike Talkman? It turned out to be a fantastic trade. We could do stuff like that. There's no reason to spend $30 million anymore on a bullpen. You could really get it cheap. There's no reason if unless we're going to take the Braves approach where we're going to lock up Peraza, Cabrera, Volpe, Dominguez like that, there's no reason that we're giving a 25-year-old. I mean, I'm assuming Aaron Hicks was about 25, 26 when we gave him that contract. There's no reason to give him a contract like that. Aaron Hicks was never going to become a superstar. I mean, I know he was like a former number 1 pick, and when Cashman makes a trade, he like does everything possible to make sure that trade works out. But I don't think they should go in the rebuild. But I think, like what you say, financially, they need to start spending their money better. I believe we've had the same amount. I believe the payroll was 250 in 2009, and it's still around the 250s now. We're not changing our payroll. I don't think our payroll is going up, and it's definitely not going to go down. It's going to stay around this area. But the money is not being allocated into the right things. I mean, right there, that is what 30 million. It's a $55 million on Josh Donaldson, Aroldis Chapman, and Zach Britton, who have played neither of them. All three of them have not played one single important role on this Yankees. That's $55 million right there.
That's a lot.
That's $55 million. You could have cut all three of those guys and gave Verlander a bag just for one season to come here and pitch if you really wanted to. Like, they could have done stuff like that. They could have allocated their money better. They could have, actually gotten a player for $25 million on a cheaper contract. Personally, for me, this offseason, if we don't re-sign Benintendi, the Yankees are good. Well, how bad we thought the Yankees would be this year is how bad they're going to be next year. Because if they don't bring back a guy like Benintendi, left field's a black hole right now. Oswaldo Cabrera cannot start in left field. He cannot be our starting left fielder next year. He's a good player, but he's not that great of a left fielder. He cannot play there. They're going to need to dump Hicks. Hicks.
That's another 10 million. That would have been
that's $65 million right there that we're wasting on 4 players. Those guys are not. Rizzo's going to opt into his contract. He's not opting out. Nobody's going to pay him more than $16 million to do what he did. He's going to be staying. So you're going to still have guys. There's no reason to rebuild. At this point, yes, I want Judge back. Everybody wants Judge back. I'm not going to be heartbroken if Judge leaves. Okay. At the end of the day, they're going to find a way to replace his production. Not that production, but they'll find a couple guys to replace the production. If he leaves, he's not leaving though. They're going to make it work. But I mean, you're going to have Bader in center next year. I'm already looking to next year. I'm not even concerned. If they don't fix their offensive approach, they have no chance at coming back. First off, they have to win 3 games in New York. Houston came in here the last time and won 2. They're not
hit us, and they almost no hit us.
No, I was even talking about it. Just the playoffs, like the 2019 playoffs. When we split, we did what we had to do, and then they come here and win 2 games. Houston's not afraid of the so-called Bronx Zoo. They're not afraid of that. They're not afraid of the fans. They're used to that. That's not going to intimidate them. So throw all that out of the window. If they don't play the offense how they need to play the offense, bunting, singles, shorten up their at-bats, foul off a bunch of pitches if they get into a 2-strike count, work the pitcher. This is over. I hope Houston sweeps us in 4. But anyway, they should win these 2. They should win these next 2 games because it is Cole and Nestor. But at the end of the day, I don't trust our offense. But anyway, on to next year. If it should be Bader in center, it should be Judge in right field. But okay, so let's say Judge gets the 35 to 40 million. Take out of that 60, out of that 50, if you take Aroldis Chapman and Britton's money, add a little bit extra. There you go. That's his contract right there. Bang, that's done. You're still going to have more money to spend and stuff like that. But it really should be Bader center, Judge and right. Then you're going to have first base Rizzo, catchers probably still going to be those two guys. Maybe not Kyle because I don't know if Kyle's a free
I heard
agent
he's
or
a
not.
free agent.
So if he's a free agent, they'll
in.
probably walk him and let Brendan Warford come, unless they sign a really cheap team friendly deal. But then here's the thing: who's starting at second base? Who's starting at shortstop? Who's starting at third base next season?
100%.
Because honestly, I love DJ LeMahieu, but they need to find a way to keep him off the field because he's so old, not so old, he's 32, but you could tell because they have to play him so much because he's so important that he gets so worn down at the end of the year. This is now back-to-back years where in what is it, late August, September, and October that he's been hurt and at crucial times for us. They need to do a better job rotating their players to keep them a little bit fresher. Because this is what they do. Everybody's, they load management, these guys and stuff. Load management is fine. Like clearly we're seeing it right now that with the Yankees, they're getting worn out at the end of the season. Everybody complained. I mean, I was one too, like, why are we resting Judge after he, does this? Why are we resting Stanton? Clearly they're right. The fans are wrong, they're right. They need to bench DJ more, get him off his feet more because he's too crucial of an at bat in the playoffs. You can't missing him out because of a toe injury and last year the oblique. I mean, that you can't, but they beat him up too much. And so you have the players on the bench. You're going to have Peraza next year. You're going to have Cabrera. You have to find ways to keep guys healthy for October. But I don't think they should go in a rebuild only because the prospects, they're close. The prospects are just right there. There's no reason. You still have Stanton under contract. You have Cole under contract. I don't think Nestor's a free agent for at least a handful of years because of arbitration and all that stuff. You still have Severino for one more year. You're gonna have Frankie Montas next year. Hopefully he's better pitcher. Efros will be back. Yeah. Loizaga will still be here. You have the pieces to continue to be a good team and stuff like that. But if they don't re-sign Benintendi, I don't have any hope in this team because they don't have a left fielder that's young that could come up. All their prospects are shortstops. I don't know how that happened, but all their prospects are shortstops. So somebody's going to need to get traded, whether that's Gleyber Torres, Peraza. I doubt they're going to trade Volpe. Somebody's got to get traded at this deadline. Personally, I love Peraza. I would like to keep him, but I would trade any prospect that could get rid of Josh Donaldson. I really would. At this point, anybody that you could package to get rid of Josh Donaldson, I would do it. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but you have a lot of talent there. Gleyber Torres hopefully will have a rebound season next year. And then, at the end of the day, we'll see what they do with their prospects. They love to prospect hug and not trade him. So I don't know. Probably a lot of talent that's going to get careers wasted with the Yankees.
Yeah, there was a lot of good points you said that I'm going to agree to all of them. So first of all, the bullpen, like you said, they wasted way too much money on the bullpen. Mm-hmm. When you look at it's funny. So we said $65 million, including Josh Donaldson and Hicks. Mm-hmm. Did you know that the Cleveland Guardians payroll is $64 million?
Yeah.
64 million.
And their bullpen's fine, way better than our bullpen.
Dramatically better. Yeah. And we just listed just 4 players, 2 hitters, and 2 bullpen people at 65.
Yeah.
So that's one. Tampa Bay Rays always have a good bullpen. Mm-hmm. They have a $90 million payroll in general. We're around 250. Yeah. That's another. Houston, they're pay every team's bullpen. You don't need to pay so much on a reliever who throws 1 inning. You should not do that. Number 1. 2, you look at left field. We've had bloopers go there, and Benintendi is a Gold Glove. He's a contact hitter. He's a lefty. Those are the 3 things you would love.
And he's 28 years old.
He's 20 years old. He's won a World Series with the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
We always said we need more lefties. That's your lefty. Yeah. We need more contact hitter.
And he's our lefty. Hitter. He would be our lefty DJ LeMahieu. And 100%. I know they're going to mess it up, and he's going to go to another team. But if they don't they have no left field prospect. They have nobody that could play left field. And he's sitting there waiting, oh, he could come back. He's 28 years old. You could easily give him a nice 5-year deal, 4-year deal. Right now he's getting paid $8 million. He's a contact hitter. He's probably not going to make more than 8 to 12 million in that range. So a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year deal that solves your left field right there. That also is a good contact hitter. That means you could have DJ LeMahieu 1, Benintendi 2, Judge in your 3 hole. Something like that. To give your home run hitters a shot at producing the big time home run.
No, yeah. Like I said, Benintendi, you have to resign him. You can't mess that up. You have to. He's a lefty DJ and obviously a Gold Glove. Bader, you've seen what he's done in the playoffs. He's speedy. He's best defensive center fielder you've seen obviously recently. You got Judge, your MVP, almost Triple Crown winner, AL record. He's an amazing right fielder defensively. That is 3 possible Gold Gloves right there in the outfield.
Yeah.
Rizzo, like you said, he's not leaving. That's your first baseman. I think he's finalist for a Gold Glove, right?
He might have been. Yeah.
So you put him at first. Trevino's going to be a starting catcher. Whether Higgy or Ben Roethlisberger as your backup, one of them is going to
Mhm.
be there. That's the problem, like you said. Second base, shortstop, and third base. You want to have DJ still on the team, of course, but you just don't know, obviously, if he's going to have a specific position or utility man. You
Yeah.
figure that out, probably utility man. You have a problem with having IKF, Gleyber Torres, and Peraza, and then Volpe is going to come up, and then Cabrera is there. Josh Donaldson should not be a factor. You got to figure out a way to get rid of him, right?
Mhm.
Cabrera is more of an infielder. If you put him at third, that could be a third baseman. He can move around.
And that's why, like, to hop in there, just to click when you just said that right there. You could have Cabrera and LeMahieu rotate at third base to keep them fresh, and then keep Torres at set. You could rotate these guys to keep them fresh instead of them all getting hurt at the end of the year. Because they're all worn down. Baseball's a long, hard season. It's 62
Very true.
games. It's a marathon. It's brutal. So I'm not surprised that these guys get hurt a lot, but they got to find some way to keep them fresh.
No, yeah. So my last point on that is that I know a lot of people won't like this. And I know someone's a big Gleyber Torres fan. I'm sorry, but I feel like if you somehow move Torres, right, he only plays second base. He's not really a shortstop. That's
Yeah.
the only position he plays. He's very limited to that, and he'll probably be a free agent. I don't know when, but he'll be a free agent before Peraza and Volpe and
Yeah.
Cabrera. So
Mhm.
you're gonna have to pay him. So you could avoid that, get some value from him, whether you get a starter, a bullpen. I know they're trying to get Pablo
Yeah.
Lopez. It would have been now if you look at bad trade, you could get a better pitcher.
Mhm.
If somehow he's not in the lineup, Peraza can not only play shortstop, he can play
For
second
second
base
base.
too.
Mhm.
I'm assuming Volpe can play also both positions,
Yeah,
second
they
and
have
short.
him.
Cabrera can play third, short, and second, and
Mhm.
DJ can play second and third. Those guys can be all versatile,
Mhm.
and you can have that as your infield. And you know what? If you want to keep IKF, he could play third, maybe a little bit of
Could be a
a
bench
short
guy, yeah.
until obviously Volpe comes up.
Yeah.
But Josh Donaldson should not be on this team. And I'm not saying Gleyber Torres should be on this team, but he hasn't been the 2019 Gleyber Torres where he hit
Yeah.
38 home runs and obviously the playoffs. That was the only Gleyber Torres that peaked. Every other one was pretty good, solid,
Mhm.
and he's not really versatile on defense. It's just second base. He's an amazing second baseman, plays great defense. But
Mhm.
if you somehow get rid of those two, I think you can figure out your
Yeah.
infield from there.
If I'm a big Glaber fan, but if they could somehow trade him, I don't just want to trade him to trade him.
Oh yeah, I want to get
But
value.
if you can find, I would even take no value if you could trade him and get rid of Josh Donaldson. If you could do that, I would take like some double A guy, like
I would
something like
want a
that,
reliever actually.
or
I
a
think a
relief. No,
reliever.
yeah, like a reliever, something like that. Like I don't think there's, I think if any way you can move Josh Donaldson, that's going to help this team a lot more, because then, like we said, they have the guys, like this shouldn't be a rebuilding. This is a good team. You're going to have good pitchers coming back next year. I don't like Montas right now. I don't
At
think he's that
all.
good of a pitcher, but I
Horrible
wouldn't
trade.
be. I want to see what he's going to be like for a full season next year. Like right now, this is a horrible trade, especially for this season. But hopefully, he can get healthy again, come back next season, and show us, why he can be a good pitcher and stuff like that. But yeah.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Mhm.
Josh Donaldson, like I said, if you get rid of him, it would definitely help a lot. And then Glaber, he's a great player, but I mean, if you get a reliever or even a
Mhm.
starter, it would be great. I just want to ask one more quick question. Obviously, you guys playing. You got the Phillies and the Padres playing each other on the NLCS. Who do you think goes to the World Series?
I like both teams. I think they both have exciting offenses. They're obviously both very good. I'll give the edge to the Padres because I just think they're a deeper pitching staff than the Phillies do. And what Joe Musgrove is going to pitch tonight for them compared to like Ranger Suarez, who's not a terrible pitcher, but at the end of the day, like that's a big advantage for the Padres. The Padres have three legitimate top of the line pitchers compared to really the two from the Phillies with Nola and Wheelers. And then I don't think the Phillies bullpen is as good as the Padres bullpen is. So I think the Padres will win it. I know everybody's going to say obviously the Phillies have the advantage now. They're coming home for 3 games and they split. But I think the Padres should come out of that, and win the NL.
The Padres are giving me a lot of Braves vibes. As obviously,
Mhm.
I know Acuna was hurt last year. Tatis,
Yeah.
suspended. They have a deeper lineup, like you said. Obviously, Soto, he got a hit recently, but even if he still keeps heating up, that team is going to the World Series. But
Mhm.
I would like the Phillies to win just because obviously it's the Phillies.
I'm a big
Good little
Harper. I'm a big
story.
Harper fan, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. I actually like both teams. So whatever one beats Houston, I'll be happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wouldn't mind either one. I think the Padres are probably going to win, but it would
Mhm.
be cool for Philly to win.
Yeah.
Whatever happens there. Before we end, I wanted to say something, and this goes out to well, not every Mets fan, because I know a few Mets fans who are just nice people. Jason, he's a very cool dude.
Yeah.
Tim Bergamini, great. There's a lot of Mets fans, and I'm not gonna call out names, need to stop. It's sad that you guys not only wait for the Yankees to lose, but you jump of excitement because they lose. Like
Yeah.
you are so bad that you are happy when another team loses. Like it's sad because Yankees never have to worry about the Mets. You want to know why? Because when was the last time the Mets won a World Series, right? I know the Yankees, everyone hates that we bring up the 27 World Championships, but we've been in the playoffs consistently. And that's the one good thing about the Yankees. I know that we complain always whether we lose, but we actually compete to make it. While the Mets are at home watching us compete. And even this year, oh, we have more wins. Well, wild card team. Well, we made it to the CS. I know that both teams will obviously eventually end up probably on the couch, but guess what? You, if you're not a Dodgers fan, a Houston fan, or I'll even give the Braves because they won last year, and the Red Sox have been good recently. Like those teams, you cannot speak. You cannot. I don't care what you say about obviously the Yankees, all their championships being in the past. We've been in the playoffs consistently, and you guys have not. So I don't understand why Mets fans are so obsessed with the Yankees losing when you guys have not done nothing. This is the first time you made the playoffs in not a while, but
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Like you guys been missing the playoffs, and just it's sad to see Mets fan, honestly. And it's not all of them. I know a few of them are really great people. A few of them who don't even really post too much, but they're just Mets fans. And
Yeah.
I can't put the whole Mets fan in there, but there's a lot of them that you just got to get better, man. I'm sorry, but I had to get that out there because it's been really frustrating. I'm really grateful for all the people I've met this year because if you look at last year and the year before, you were probably one of the baseball people I knew, and maybe one or two other people. It's crazy how this year alone I've kind of gotten to meet between 20 to 50 people who interacted with me and talked to me about baseball. I'm like, I didn't know so many people like baseball. Like it's pretty cool to see. And some of them, like I said, are Yankee haters, and I really feel bad for you guys. Get better, man. But I appreciate you having me or having you on the show.
Thanks,
I
man.
hope that next week, I
Hopefully
don't
we
know
can
if it's
get.
gonna
Hopefully this
happen.
isn't our last Yankee talk, but
Yeah, no,
you know.
I hope next week they're hopefully
Yeah.
either winning the series. Obviously won the series. I hope next week is not that the season ended. But we'll obviously see about that. And I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no
So
problem, man. Thanks for
yeah.
having me on the show.
So this is obviously a sports podcast crew. Hopefully after the Yankee season eventually ends, if it's a World Series or a CS exit, we'll probably talk about some off-season moves. We've already hinted and discussed some things, but
Mhm.
more stuff will come. We'll hear about Judge Brian Cashman's contract ending, and then eventually now that basketball season's on, talk about some Knicks, some Celtics. We'll talk about some of the NBA stuff, and yeah. So appreciate you, Matt,
Yeah, no
and
problem.
we'll see you guys next week.